everyone, Paul ISM. Welcome to part 8 of our Fujimi 1/16th Porsche 959 video build. Before we get going today, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you click the little bell notifications, get notified of all our latest videos. Click the like button and leave a comment. I do read and reply to all the comments and appreciate everybody that takes the time to leave a comment on the channel. And of course, if you scroll up in the description, there's a link to a big long list of all the items I use in my videos. So if you see anything, you should be able to find it in there. Right then, so part 8. This is going to lead on from all the hard work we did in part 7. So all that masking and painting is going to come to fruition today as we build up all our suspension, running gear, brakes, wheels, get the rest of the engine components on, and really start to gain some momentum on this build. Now sadly, a lot of the work done on the suspension's hidden. You just cannot see it at all. Even when the wheels are off, it's just not there. Was it time well spent? Yeah, I did it. I know I've done it. I've done the best I can out of the kit in that respect. Showing you guys out there to do some things. And yeah, it's just one of those things. But you really can't see it. It's a real shame. The brakes now you can see, as you'll see at the end. But the suspension work is really lost. It's a bit of a shame, but it's one of those. So let's jump straight in and let's catch up where we left off last time. And let's start assembling all these painted and build components. Okay, so we're picking up where we left off from on the last video. Everything's been painted, masked, all detail painted, and now we're looking to get to assembly of all our suspension components, brakes, get the wheels in, so on and so forth. So we've got a few tricky bits to get in here. They're going to take a bit of careful gluing and positioning. So we're just going to test fit this part. This is one of the rear suspension struts and drive shafts. So the suspension components just clip in place, like so. Let's make sure I've got them the right way around. Looks like we have. No, we'll get the other one. Let's try this. There we go. We're not looking for any visible flaws or anything we'll see from the exterior, but later on in the build, we'll notice that you can't really see any of it anyway. A lot of our hard work is all hidden, but at the end of the day, we know we did it all. We know it's in there, and that's it really. We built the kit as it should be, and we're going to assemble it as it should be as well. So make sure we get everything lined up properly, like so. This is quite a fiddly job to get this in place. It takes a little bit of finagling, whatever you want to call it, to get it in. So read the instructions, have a look at the orientation of the parts, make sure you're happy everything goes before you commit to glue, because it is very, very tricky. Everything needs angling right to get it through. I'm looking at the instructions, looking at what we got, dropping things on the bench. And there we go. So it slots through the back. The suspension spring component slots in a little piece at the bottom. And then we've got to locate that drive shaft into a little hole into the side of the transmission at the back. So it takes a bit of fettling to get it in place, but there we go, it's in. We've test fitted it, we just pulled out a little bit. We're going to have to dab a CA glue to the components where they touch, and then using our tweezers, we get it all lined back up correctly again. I see you've got 3 components lined up here. It is very, very tricky. So take your time, get it all lined up. Once you're happy, push it in place, let the glue do the work. And we can get it all lined up. But it is fiddly. It is very, very fiddly. So just take your time. It will go in. We've already dry fitted. We know it fits. It just takes a little bit of persuasion to get it in there. You're literally lining up 3 components at once. And it is a little bit tricky. So there we go. We've got the bottom part of the actual suspension to go in. We've got the drive shaft to go in. There we go. And the top of it needs holding as well. So we get it lined up. We'll push it all fully home. Hold it for 5-10 seconds. Let the glue do the work. And then we'll go around to the other side. Repeat it. There we go. That one's gone a little bit easier. Hold it for a few seconds. Let the CA glue, do its job. Make sure our suspension's in the right place. Everything's clicked in place. And then once it's glued, we can sit happy knowing, there we are, it's all in the right position. So a little bit tricky to do, but not that bad really. Now, front suspension, we've got this plate. The glue's in here. As you can see on the back, we got the transmission on the last video, but there's one to go here as well. So this is 4-wheel drive, so there's a front and rear differential. I'm just eyeing this up how it fits. They're all okay to point. I'm just making sure I have the correct ones before we commit to glue, and it is the right way round. There is an arrow pointing forward, which is very handy. Once we've done that, we'll have a dab of glue around the top. And then grab our front suspension struts. Choice of two here, I went for the double spring. Just because I thought visually they look a little bit more interesting. And again, once this is in, again, a real shame it can't really be seen. But it's just one of those things. A lot of the time we spend time prepping, priming, painting, detailing up parts, just not see them on the vehicle. We know we did them. It's a part of the kit. We know we've built it. I've got it on camera as evidence. So it's a case of it's just one of those things. Our brake discs now, calipers, orientated for the right parts. Make sure we've got the correct front and rear sections. And we're going to glue them together carefully. We do not want to get any gluey fingerprints on our hard work from last time. These are looking really good. Once you hit these with a wash, it'll bring them to life a little bit. But we just hit it with a glue, hold it for a few seconds. And once we're happy, we can pop it in place. So there are some poly caps to go in here as well, so refer to instructions to where they go. On this one, it goes in the hub. So we pop that in place. Make sure we get the correct brake disc assembly, because they are handed. So pop a dab of glue on this one again, assemble the disc. Quite a nice looking disc, to be honest. Quite well detailed. Calipers are nice, look good with the decals and cleared with the bright red. And like I say, being a 16 scale, it's a nice large part. So it's actually pretty nice to work with for a change. There we go. Like I say, all that hard work of masking's really paid off. Once we can get it washed, it'll bring out a bit of the depth of detail with the drilled in discs and all the surface detail as well. Okay, so I noticed when we assembled these a little bit of red overspray from when we painted the calipers. So we've got some Vallejo Model Air silver on a microbrush. I'm just going to touch up the very edges. It's mostly inside on the ventilated part of the disc. It's just a little bit of overspray from where it wasn't quite masked properly. So yeah, just get a little dab of this. Doesn't take a lot to cover it all. Put a few dabs on. Let's put it to one side to dry. Job's a good one. Nice, simple, quick, easy touch up. A little bit there as well. We'll just touch that up. And the beauty of the Vallejo Model Air is if you're not happy with it, as long as you're going over a different coloured paint, you can just wipe it off like that. Simple as that. Water-based paints are good over lacquers. They literally do wipe back off. So we've got our poly caps in each one of our steering hubs. Apply a generous amount of clear glue around the edge. Try and keep it away from the poly cap if we can. Make sure we've got the right disc. You can tell by the lug and keyway on the back. Push it onto the hub. Make sure it's pushed fully home. Make sure it's orientated the right way. Most importantly, make sure you're gluing the right parts to the right parts. And there we go. Those calipers looking absolutely stunning. And again, repeat that for the other side. And that is our disc and hub assembly complete. Another tip to do, once you've glued these together, put a cocktail stick through the hole, give it a quick spin round, run around the edge to make sure you get any excess CA glue out. Otherwise, you will have trouble later getting your road wheels on. So yeah, again, just take your time, follow the instructions, and you should be all good. The kit's gone together generally very, very well. Quite surprised actually. I've got several more of these in the stash now. Got about another 4 or 5, as well as some other 16 scale kits that I've bought. And I believe this is one of the best of the bunch, and I can see why. It's a great kit. It's gone together really well. Hopefully the others will build up. I don't mind a bit of work here and there, but hopefully on the whole the others will build up well too. Steering rack, arms here as well. And again, another component we masked and sprayed, and you wouldn't be able to see it inside. But it's just one of those things. We know it's there, we know it's been done. We get the other part on there, which you clip in place. Just be careful now when you're handling parts you spent a long time painting or detailing. Make sure your fingers are clean. You've got no residue on there of super glue, thinners, anything that's going to destroy all your hard work. What we're going to do, we're going to pop it in place, just dry fit it, and then we'll have a look and see how the cross member over the top will fit in as well. I'm just testing it to see how it goes. Not too bad at all. Happy with where that was, so we can now get our front differential in as well. Couple of dabs of CA glue. Slot that through the back. Make sure it's fully located home. Once we're happy, we can leave that to dry for a little bit. Or if you want to rush it like me, you can grab a bit of CA kicker on a micro brush. Make sure it's sat perfectly square and true. Little dab in there and just touch the tops. None of these parts are visible, so it has no detrimental effect at all to the paintwork. But it just makes sure that that dries almost instantaneously, and we're all good. So we've got our steering arms in. They locate into the top of the subframe. There's a drive shaft slot into the actual back of the disc. Then we have this part, which slots over the top and then over each hub pivot point. So the steering actually works as it does on most cars. We've knocked one of them off there, but it's not an issue. We can pop that back in really easy. So it's a case of getting it on the steering arm. Get the bottom in, get the top in, and then push the part down and glue it. And there we go. Push down, the CA glue will grip that. A couple of seconds of hold, and it's got it. And as you can see, the wheels turn perfectly. And there we go. Very nice. The discs and calipers look great. Really happy with how that looks. We've got a prop shaft now, or a drive shaft, as somebody pointed out a few weeks back. Just needs glued in place. Really simple to do. We'll concentrate on the rear discs first. And again, these are handed, so look for the marks. They do sit off center as well. I have checked references on the real car. Make sure you're getting those little locating points. Make sure you're happy where it is. And then give it a full push in. So you're happy it's all square, true and straight. And then we can repeat it for the other side. Drive shaft, prop shaft now. A couple of dabs of CA glue each side. Again, you're not going to see this part at all. It's all covered by the interior. But it's there. We know it's there. So it's all good. Now wash. I didn't want a real thick wash on this. So I put a little bit of the Tamiya black panel liner in one of the little paint pots we sell at UMP. So we're just going to slightly thinner version than our normal wash. And then we're going to hit up all the raised recessed parts of the discs. So that includes the top of the vents in the ventilated disc, around the hub in the center, and then each one of those drilled divots that are on the disc as well. We'll let it dry, wipe off the excess, and that's it. Jobs are good in there. So I do like the Tamiya panel line wash. It's enamel based, dries pretty quick. It doesn't react with any lacquer paints because you're using opposing paints on each other. You can rub them off as long as you're gentle without any ill effects. You can also see we've masked up and sprayed the handbrake caliper there as well. We did that in black. But yeah, just take your time, go around this. The less you put on, the less cleanup you've got. But obviously you need enough to go on there to give the actual wash effect. Engine's looking good. We've got a few more components to pop on there in a little bit as well. And that is that finished up. Intercoolers, there's 2 intercoolers for the back of the engine. And again, we can just get some wash into the recessed detail on there. And let it dry, come back, wipe off the excess, repeat for the other side, and that's those done as well. There we go, wiping up the paper and then wiping up any excess. Should use tissue really, but these instructions are all beat up anyway, so not going to make any difference now. Then we've got the air cleaner box as well. It's got some nice recessed detail on it, so we might as well hit it up with the wash. And there we go. Same with our air cleaner intakes and flexible hoses on it. All masked up, sprayed in their different colours. We got 3 different colours on there. They came out really well. Now, whether they're all those washes are drying, let's assemble our road wheels. So we've got 4 in total. I'm going to show 1. And all I'm doing at first, got a little bit of UMP airbrush cleaner on a clean bit of tissue. I'm just wiping off any residue on the tyres. The tyres are directional, so make sure you get them on the right side. And there are front and rear tyres and wheels as well. The inner outer rim, the outer rim is the same for all 4. The inner rim is wider for the rear and thinner for the middle, for the centre, for the front. Sorry, there is no centre. Be a very odd car with the centre wheels. So a bit of generous CA glue, pop it in place, give it a little bit of a squeeze again. Be very careful with excess CA glue. We'll grab our kicker on a micro brush, run it along the back, and jobs are good. Now you'll see that we left the original kit chrome on. Because it's the back part, you can't really see through it anyway. And I thought, why waste all that time stripping it and painting it for something you're never really going to see? So we left it as is. Once we get that kicker on, there we go, we're all glued, and we're ready for our tyres. Tyres are really nice. They are properly labelled Bridgestones with directional markings. All the tyre sizes on, I think they're like 2, 3, 5, 40 odd 17s, I think, which ironically is a smaller wear tyre combination than my Mondeo has. But this is a 1980s supercar. Things have moved on a little bit now. And yeah, there we go. Wheels look good. The paint colour I chose looks good. They look good assembled. Another 2 to do. And they're all done. So we can get our excess wash off now. It's been drying for half an hour. I like to try and catch the wash just before it fully dries, because then you don't need to use any odorless mineral spirits or any other proprietary enamel thinner on there to get them off. I just like to use the wash. It reactivates itself. And we're just going around removing the majority of it, leaving it all in the recessed detail work. And again, a job well worth doing. Adds a little bit of depth to the part. We'll repeat this for all 4 parts and any other areas are done. But there you go, there's our tyre all assembled. So as you can see, all the 4 markings on there, Bridgestone, tyre sizes on there, the rotational directions on there too. Very, very nice. And now we're going to put our wheels on the car. So we've got 3 on already. This is the very last one. Just give it a very easy. It's a case of pushing it very lightly while turning. And there we go. Sits on its own wheels. Now, a few components for the engine. We've got the air cleaner box, the intake hoses for the air cleaner, and the intercoolers and their intake pipes as well. So pop the air cleaner on first. Already dry fitted to make sure it fits. A couple of dabs of CA glue. Angle it up so we can see the locator points. There we go. Make sure we're all straight. And then we've got a couple of tricky little pipes to get on. So my tip here is to get the rear section on where it hits those turbos. Like so. And then slot the front bit in to the air cleaner box. Hold it for a second, let the CA glue get a grip. There we go. Repeat for the other side. I thought it was going to be a bit of a problem this, but it's actually not too bad. Intercoolers now, they're little intake pipes or whatever you want to call them, hoses. They sit at a funny angle on the back. So line it up, use your kit instructions as reference if needed. But there's just a gate at the top rinse, repeat for the other side, and that is those done as well. So that is it. That for the most part is our engine complete now. It's looking good. There's some nice comparisons there. Nice differentiating colours. I'm glad to do the HT leads in red because they look really good. And there we go. So there's our wheels on with our calipers and discs showing through. Our engine. I still might add some detail to those gearboxes. Might add a grey wash to them. We're overall happy with this. It's looking well. Nice to get it sitting on its own wheels. We've got a bit of play or movement in the wheels is the right word I'm looking for to move them in or out. So once we get the body on, we'll have a little look at that and see if anything needs rearranging. And there we go. There's all our hard work done. It's looking good. Very happy with all the colours. They look well. They contrast well against each other. Like I say, really happy with those HT leads. Glad we went with red. And happy with the colour choices I've made over the engine. Again, it's not the most detailed of engine, but for a 16 scale kit, it's more than adequate. I really couldn't resist popping the body on to have a look how it looks, how it sits, and it sits beautiful. It really does. Got that nice low stance. It looks really good. Nice to get the chassis on and to see how, a sneak peek of how it's going to look once it's done. We've still got quite a bit of work to do. Hopefully we get those done in the next two parts. But I think you agree it's coming along well. Not bad for just over 3 weeks' work. It sits really nice and low in its arches. And that colour, yeah, loving that colour. And I'm glad I chose the red brake calipers as well. Adds a little bit of interest to the car. And the engine's looking good out the back as well. Still got some work to do there, but we'll get to that in part 9. There we are then. Really getting there now. It's starting to look like a car. We do have a bit of an issue with the suspension. One side's a little bit higher at the back, but I think once we get the body on and it settles, I think it'll be okay. We've got movement on one side, it goes up and down, and none on the other. I don't know what it is, and the track seems a bit wider on one side, so we'll wait till we get the body on, and we'll see the issue then, and then we'll fix it as and when needed. But I'm not going to worry about it right now. It's only a few mil. It's not a massive amount. As long as the wheels aren't sticking out or anything daft, it won't be an issue at all. But fingers crossed, we're getting there. I'm getting a bit nervous now, the last few parts fitting. I have test fitted that body, and it did seem to go on okay. But I'm definitely getting a little bit nervous now that something's not going to fit, and we're going to have a bit of a nightmare. But we'll see. We'll see what happens when we get there. So yeah, that's where we're at today. Part 9 will be back, and I guess we're going to start on the body now. We've still got the body to flat and polish. We've got some black work to do around the windows and a few other bits. We've got all the lights to do, the windows to do. There's still a fair bit to do. I've got to get those doors, hinges on, the bonnet hinge, the boot hinge. Yeah, we've got more masking to do. Yeah, so that'll be the next part and probably part 10. I think we're going to be 10 parts on this. We really are. Thanks everyone that's stuck with us so far in this build. It really is appreciated, all the support and everything. And yeah, it really is nice to see everyone following the build, and a lot of people saying they're enjoying it as well. And if you've watched this far, let me know how old you were when you built your first model. There we go. So we're back in part 9. I don't know when. There's no more footage filmed, so I've got to catch up. So probably be another end of the week maybe. We'll see. But thanks for sticking with the build. And like I say, we'll be back ASAP with part 9. So as always, check out International Scale Model Facebook page and forum, umpretail.com. We can get a lot of the products you'll see used in my videos. And there's a big long list in the description of all the products I use. If you see anything I use, be it cutters, tweezers, knives, paints, whatever, in the description is a link to a big long list of all the items. Go over there and have a look. And check out my Paul ISM Facebook page and Instagram page. And of course, make sure you sub to the channel, give a thumbs up, click the bell notifications, get notified of the latest videos. And as I say, leave a comment. I do read them all. I might not reply to them all straight away. I'm getting through them. But I do read and appreciate every comment left. There we go. Thanks for watching today, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.